hate to be the one to break it to you, but sex education of the past failed us. Because birds and bees, they don't fuck. Welcome to Birds and Bees Don't Fuck, a podcast where we learn exactly how bad our formative sex education, or lack thereof, really was. I'm your host, Ariel Zadok. I'm a producer, intimacy coordinator, and sex educator. My guest today is the CEO and co-founder of Squirtopia Squirt Pads. Welcome to the show, Michele Farmery.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. This is exciting.
It really is. Also, I love your purple hair. I really
thank
want
you.
it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I've been, the first person that dyed my hair, I used to have very, very long brown hair.
Okay.
I've always had super long hair. I'm a Leo. It's a thing.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, you're a Leo too?
Yes.
Yay! I should have known. You definitely have
right?
that Leo
That makes
presence.
sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is going to be a great conversation.
Oh, that's so funny.
But he like burned everything off. So like it was fine. But now one of my dear friends, Tiana, does my hair. She's amazing.
Nice.
She's a specialty colorist. Like she's just constantly learning. So my hair has been so healthy, and we're in the process of trying to grow this stuff out. But I feel like I can never go back to anything other than this purple hair. It's like,
yeah, no, it's amazing.
It's my identity now.
Yes.
Purple hair, red lips. That's me.
Yes. I love it.
Yes. So you are in Amsterdam now?
Okay, we are.
Wow.
And it's really just so weird because we were here in June and then we just decided we need to stay.
Just in June?
Yes.
We're recording this in September. My God.
Yeah. And we canceled our flight home we were going to leave from Paris to San Diego. And we just canceled our flight home and said, we'll figure it out.
Wow. I love that.
It was amazing. It was hard. It took 30 days, which is nothing, to find a place, but I worked my butt off.
Yeah. Oh man, I can very much appreciate that. I moved to New Zealand in somewhat similar fashion. I moved back here a little bit faster. I think I moved back here in like 5 weeks when I just woke up and I was like, I guess I'm going to go. So we have that in common.
I was going to say, because like most people are like, what? But I love that. Yeah. Like the spontaneity is the spice of life.
Yeah. And so you and your husband co-founded Squirtopia.
Yes, we did. So 2 years ago, as the story goes, was it 2 years, 3 years? Who knows now? Well, 2 years ago we launched.
Honestly, who knows what time is like during the pandemic? Like it was just a vortex of
exactly. We got married in 2020. We got married in October. Yes. And on our honeymoon, I realized I can't keep working 9 to 5, the whole thing. I was ready. And we had this idea from when I orgasmed for the first time ever. I was 27 years old. Yes. I was 27 years old and Thomas gave me my first real orgasm.
No wonder you married him.
Right? And that night, I was squirting. I was making sounds I've never made. I mean, I had sex many times with like 12 partners or whatever, and it was good. Sex is fun. And I couldn't orgasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super common. It's super common. And when you get to that point where your body is doing things and making sounds that you've never heard before, it truly is a spiritual experience. Like it is both like an out of body experience, but a so interconnected, like this deep experience that is so connected to your body and whatever fucking higher being is or isn't here.
100%.
It's like fucking wild. That's why a comedian friend of mine, she was actually on the show, Sam Sweets, she has a song called Dick Trap. She's bi, so she fucks women too. But it's just funny. It. But like it's more like an orgasm trap. But yeah, it's.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because sometimes I'll have like visions. Like I've definitely envisioned Squirtopia during an orgasm before.
Yes. Oh my God. Do you want to tell me about that? I want to know.
I mean, like I think I've never read anything about this. I've seen maybe 3 posts on Instagram about manifesting with your orgasm. And that's all I need is a headline to be like, okay, I think I can do that in my way, what that means for me.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, I was having an orgasm, and it was just like a way to kind of reach up, not physically, literally, but like energetically. I feel like I can reach up to the heavens and pull down whatever it is that we need. So it's like, we need more money to grow the business. We need to go to the EU so we can be in stores in Amsterdam. And I'm just like trying to make things come to reality.
Yes, that's sex magic. It's sex
Yes,
magic.
sex magic.
And it's so
Yes. So I need to
interesting.
do more research on it. Tell
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
give me like a few sentences on what it is.
It's exactly
That.
what you said.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
so interesting. I was literally listening to a witch podcast seconds before coming onto this show.
Wow.
It's okay. This is so connected, and I love this. And for all the witchy listeners out here, you're gonna fucking love this shit because we're getting into it. We're getting
Here
into
we
the
go.
witchcraft. Who knew we'd be talking? Well, I mean, we're talking sex, so of course we're gonna talk witchcraft.
Yeah, sex and
So
magic. Yeah.
sex and magic. It's sex magic, and it is exactly that. It's the thought there. So I'm no witch expert by any means,
Right,
but
right. We're
I think
just fun playing.
we're just
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But I think so many of us, especially children, especially girls, especially teenage girls, like we love this idea of magic, and there are so many different ways to cast these spells. And
Yes.
when you really start to go into the history and the different types of practitioners who are witches, there are
Mm.
all different types. So there are word witches that cast
Wow.
spells and do more like mantras, and that's their word magic. Some
Okay.
people are really in nature, so you'll see them doing things, out in nature, and it's all connected to nature, but
Right, right.
doing things there. You'll see others that are like, I think they're called like kitchen witches, and so they're like working on kitchen witches, and they're working on like
That's
different
awesome.
potions and different maybe different teas for ailments. Witches have existed throughout time, and oftentimes they're connected to midwifery and healing, and
Right.
like all these
Yes.
different things over
Yes.
time. And so sex magic and sex witches, that is one subset of witches and people who
Wow.
focus on sex magic.
Wow.
So that really is I think, oh God, I want to look up this quote because
Yes,
I listened to it the other day. This was only just yesterday. I sent it to my best friend, so I'm probably gonna have to like scroll a lot because she's a witch.
Yes.
She's on a sober journey, so she's starting this whole
Hey,
sober witch
nice.
thing, which is fucking great, and people are like really connecting to it.
Yes.
Here it is. Okay. So this was like episode 1 of this BBC Radio or Radio 4 series called Witch. And they're like going over the history of witches and really just kind of excavating. And I'm Scottish too, so I think I also just like really feel that.
Yes.
So anyway, she said, I'm just going to read this text. At one point, she said, being a witch means she believes in intentional, ritualized transformation. Ritualized transformation. And so what you're doing when you are having an orgasm and you are in that heightened connected state and you feel connected to yourself and your partner and the divine and creativity, because again, if you're looking at the chakra system, your sexuality and your creativity are connected in the same exact chakra. So what you're doing is that intentional ritualized transformation.
Wow.
Fuck, I have
in past
chills
life,
right now.
I was probably a witch doing sex magic. Because, wow.
I mean, you're doing it now.
I'm doing it now as well.
Yeah. And so, okay, so Squirtopia came to you in we'll call it a sex magic ritual.
Yes.
And
did.
how long what was the process after that?
Okay. We Googled, as you do, to try and find solutions, like, because we were ruining mattresses. We had to buy a new mattress. We were over it. We found like hospital style incontinence pads. They were small and not comfy and not sexy. Yeah. So I couldn't find anything that I was attracted to online that would be super absorbent, waterproof, machine washable. So we decided to make it ourselves.
I love
And
that.
we've always been interested in having a product that we sell. Thomas and I had worked together on various ideas that never really took off, but also we never made them take off. We just
Yeah.
had the idea, did a few things, got a few samples. It was like a cat harness. We tried a specific hammock thing we were going to do. So we'd been down the road and we knew what we had to do to make it happen. I came from a marketing background. He came from a sales background. The only thing that was stopping us was the courage to talk about sex online, because I
Yes.
came from a Catholic household. Yes, he came from, I mean, he came from the South, so he wasn't raised religious like I was, but it's not like they were talking about sex at the dinner table. Definitely not.
No,
No.
there's so much like I lived in the South for a long time. I'm from New York, so
Okay.
we very much
Okay.
say whatever the fuck we want, and we say what we mean,
Yes.
and there's no bullshit. We say what we mean what we
Yes.
say.
I
In the
love that.
South, it's not like that. So even if
No.
you're not uh even if you wasn't in a very religious household, there's still the whole bless your heart culture where you're going to
Exactly.
say some
I was
shit
just
that you
thinking about that.
absolutely don't mean, and then you're
Yes.
going to say bless your heart, and that means fuck that person. Like,
Right.
just say
Right.
it. That's so passive aggressive, and there's a
It
lot of
is.
shame, and there's a
Passive
lot of
aggressive is
guilt.
exactly how they
Hmm.
are in the South.
Yeah.
I have to, Thomas just walked in, so now I'm thinking about what I do with him.
Hi,
I have
Thomas.
to, she said, hi. He just put the baby down. But
Oh,
I dismantle. That's the word I was looking
yeah.
for. I've been having to dismantle some of his beliefs because I'll say something and he'll think I'm being passive aggressive. Like, oh no, it's okay. And he's like, oh shit, I'll still do it. I'm like, no, like literally, it's
Like, it's
okay. I'm
actually
not
okay.
one of those people who say it's okay, but in a bitchy, passive aggressive way. No,
Mhm.
that's not me.
But there's also a lot of cultural conditioning in that
Yes.
there's a belief that women just say, I'm fine when they're not fine.
Right.
And to be fair, a lot of people
Why?
do and have, because they're afraid to voice how they're
Right.
feeling and what's going on.
Right.
And there's also this idea that your partner should just fucking know. Like, are you out of your mind? You don't even know what's going on with yourself half
Right.
the time. How is another person who's not in your body and brain supposed to know
Yes.
that too? So
Yes.
there's all
It's
of this.
so true.
Yeah, like there's this, besides the culture that does exist in the South of not meaning
Yeah.
what you say, and maybe trying to be polite or nice, or like have this image or whatever it is. There's also this cultural concept in the male, female, cis, straight, heteronormative dynamic
Right. Right.
where women are constantly pissed off, but they're never going to tell their partner.
Partner,
And
what it
women are
is.
pissed
Yeah.
off because they're like, oh, well, he should know. So there's like
Right.
both sides. On one side, it's she's thinking like, he should know. Why doesn't he know? Fuck him. I can't believe he doesn't know. And on his side,
Right.
he's like, well, she said it's fine, but I'm terrified because I don't think it is,
Terrified.
and she won't tell
Literally
me anything,
terrified.
but I'm not
Yes.
going to ask again. And that's if they even ask in the
Yes.
first place. So there's a lot of dismantling, there's a lot of undoing, there's a lot of unraveling for all of us in all of
Oh
our
my God.
relationships.
So
Oh,
many years of dismantling. I mean, the internal thoughts that I was having as a 20 something were so bad, body image issues primarily. And
yes.
when I learned to write down those thoughts and look at them and realize how mean they were and to find alternatives, that was big for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I've done this with myself, and I've done this with clients before. Just really tuning into what you're saying in your head and literally stopping yourself.
Yes.
If you have to
Yes.
stop yourself
Mm-hmm.
out loud, if you're like
Mm-hmm.
let's say you walk into something, right? You stub your toe and you go,
Yes.
"Fucking idiot."
Right.
You're not a fucking
Yes.
idiot. Your foot
Right. No.
hits, who cares? Like, you
Right.
have to say out loud sometimes. You have to say, "Okay, stop. You're not an idiot. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
did a dumb thing, but that doesn't make you a dumb person. Dumb things happen
Yes.
all the time." And say it
Yes.
out
Oh,
loud
that's a good
until it,
one.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
whatever your self speak is, maybe your negative self talk is like, you can't have that. You're not worthy of that.
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
can never, like, in starting
Mm-hmm.
a business, right? Like, you can't start a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
business. Are
Back.
you out of your
God.
fucking mind? That's
Yes.
when you can stop yourself and say out loud, like, who cares who's around, whatever. If you're in your car,
Right.
that's great. If you're alone, that's great. But you can stop yourself and say, hang on. A lot of people start businesses who know a lot less than me and have a lot less resources. There's no
Yes.
reason in the
Yes.
world why I am
Yes.
not capable of doing or starting something for myself. Maybe I don't know the steps to get there. Maybe I don't know what resources I need. Maybe I'm not even clear on what that thing is, but there's no
Right.
real reason why I can't do it. Granted,
Yes.
of course, there are
There's
things
other
that are in the
reasons.
way in
Yes.
terms of, poverty levels and systematic
Right.
oppression and all of
Right.
those things,
God. Right.
but it also doesn't mean that there are not ways to work around it. It's unfortunately going to make it a lot harder, but there are also resources out there to help people. So,
True.
it is a little bit of like, the New
It's like,
Yorker in me
yeah.
is like, there is some truth. Don't go too fucking woo
Right.
woo.
I know. I
But,
know. That's what they always. Right. That's the thing we always have to remember. It's the whole. You can ask for what you want or set the intention, tell the universe, however you want to say it, and then you put in the work. I mean, Thomas and I were not sitting on our butts hoping to sell squirt pads.
exactly. Yeah. So let's go back to where you grew up. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in San Diego, California, and my parents are awesome, and they weren't crazy strict or anything, but just Catholic, every
Yeah.
Catholic school, elementary school, Catholic high school, Catholic college, Catholic church. And while they might not have been indoctrinating, is that the word? Whatever. You know what I'm
Indoctrinating.
saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, me inside the house that much, honestly, school did. Left and right. Don't have sex. It's a sin before marriage. And I love Jesus, still love Jesus. He's a homie. Talk about somebody who had all her chakras aligned and just was awesome. So because I understood Jesus at that level, even as an 8-year-old, I didn't want to sin.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have sex before marriage. I didn't want to piss him off, him being Jesus.
Yeah.
Because at 8 years old, I saw him as like my homie that I talked to and prayed to. Looking back, I really just had a deep spiritual connection, and I thought it was Catholic because that's what I was in. But all that to say, when did I make the shift from I'm a good Catholic girl to I want to have sex? I was 16 and I fell in love with a hot guy, and I said, "When are you gonna fuck me?"
All right, sir. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
We'd been dating for like 3 months, and I was like, "Bro,
all right, man. It's time. We gotta explore some shit." Was
yes.
he also Catholic?
He was, but he was older than me, and he was probably just being a gentleman. He was a great first love, great first boyfriend. So,
Oh,
yeah.
What do you remember from like the earliest sex education?
Okay, early 5th grade, and everybody just being really immature.
Oh,
everybody just laughing afterwards in the lunch area. Nobody getting any real information or understanding, just it being a joke.
Yeah.
And I think the way that they're so strict about it and so weird about it is why we turn it into a joke, because we're all uncomfortable. If they just gotten up there and said, "Hey, so this is what happens, and that's what, do you have any questions? And let's have open dialogue." It's just not like that.
Well, so much of it is because the people who are teaching us are so uncomfortable. They're
so uncomfortable.
Do you remember
yes.
who was teaching you? Was it like a nun type situation?
No,
Catholic
luckily
school,
we didn't
or?
have any
Okay.
nuns. We had nuns in high school, but we didn't have nuns in elementary school. So it was just our normal teacher. I don't think we had a sex ed person come in. In high school, it was our health teacher. So it was more so a health class with probably a chapter on sex.
Yeah.
This is so embarrassing to admit, but I have admitted it online, so I'll just do it again. I didn't even know what the clitoris was and or where it was until Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, if you weren't having those good deep orgasms, why would you?
No, and I wasn't masturbating, because masturbating is also a sin.
That's right. Oh man. I remember being young, and I wasn't necessarily masturbating per se, but like
Just
I was, because I was touching
exploring.
myself, but I would be like, what? I'm gonna stick this brush up here. I'm gonna stick this toothbrush up here.
Okay,
And
so
like,
my friend growing up was the same way. And she would
yeah,
tell me these exact things, the electric toothbrush.
just to see
And
what fits.
yes. And I don't know
Oh,
why
we
I
didn't
didn't
have
think of
electric
this for
toothbrushes.
myself. Oh,
This was
shit.
just a regular fucking like, let's just see what fits up there. Let's just see what's this about. What's this about? You know that.
Yeah, I
And I
know.
was,
Why didn't I have that? I did not have that at all.
do you remember the first time you looked at your vulva? And you don't have to share that if you don't feel comfortable. But
No, I'm comfortable. Like, they're probably young because I was interested in my body,
yeah,
but I just didn't understand what it was and how it worked. So sorry, mom, she won't get mad at me. But like, also my parents obviously didn't really explain much to me either.
yeah.
So I'm gonna do it differently with my kids. Very open dialogues, like about everything. There's addiction in my family. There's mental health in my family. We're gonna talk about all of it.
Yeah. My sister was like that. Her kids are grown now. They're all in their 20s.
Okay.
But you know, she was like that. We grew up in a home where very religious home as well. My mother grew up Catholic, but then she married a Jew and converted, so she was like super Jew. So
Wow.
Shabbat dinners every Fridays, which totally ruined my life. Like went to a Hebrew day school. Like it was like
What? Have you seen the new
Jew.
Adam Sandler movie on Netflix? You have to watch it. It's okay.
No. Oh, is it
It's
like a Jewy
cute.
thing?
Yes, it's
Okay, I'll
cute.
watch it. But it was like it was the same thing. Like, you know,
Yes.
we and they're both immigrants. So like nobody was
Yeah.
talking about sex in that house and no one was
Yes.
talking about anything. I have a brother who's an addict and like everyone was
There you
enabling.
go.
I was the only one that was like, "Hey
Mm.
y'all, what the fuck?" But like
God, it's so shitty to be around all that chaos at such a young
it is.
age. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, cuz that started his addiction. I mean, he was doing drugs like when I was really young. I mean, the first time I had weed was at 12 because he put a blunt in my face and I was like, all right, cool. Um, yeah,
12.
12, 12. And he would have been
That's young.
15 at the time. So, you know, who knows when he started, but that was when I started. You know, the first time I had ecstasy, I think I was 14, maybe 15, and it was
Wow.
from
Okay,
him.
but then
So,
how often did you smoke? Like after that first 12-year-old time, do you think
you
you took
know,
it up
I don't
regularly?
think it was like super often. I very much tried to smoke cigarettes and I'm like I always joke
Mm.
that I am the least addictive. I have the least addictive personality. I'm so non-committal that I can't do anything on a regular basis, not even cigarettes.
That's hilarious. That
But
is a testament to how
it's
non-committal you are.
yeah, truly. Like I tried. I genuinely tried to smoke cigarettes and I was like, why won't this stick? I didn't love them, but
That's
I was like, I
so
feel
funny.
cool and whatever. And so like that
Right,
was like
right.
12, 13, 15, you know, like all
Yeah,
the whole teenage years.
yeah,
And I did drugs and I was drinking and stuff like that. Like I was doing all the
right.
things within
Yeah.
my what is it called? The time that you have to come curfew. I can't think of
Yes,
it. So
yes.
I was like a
Curfew,
good girl within
same.
the curfew, right?
Same.
Yeah.
Or
And
I
then
would sneak out of the house, which was always fun, but
yeah, I never did that. I was always so we're like the story of the three very different ways to do things. So my sister was
okay.
like, I'm going to tell you everything because wouldn't you rather know as my parents what the fuck I'm doing? And she would always get
Right.
yelled at, screamed at, whatever. But she would still
Okay.
do it and be like, "Well, this is the truth. Like, what do you want?" My brother would do whatever the fuck he wants and sneak around. Also, maybe you relate to this, but because he's got a penis, he was a better person. You know what I mean? And then because he was an addict,
Wow.
he needed more love. Like all, you know, it was always something.
Oh,
It was
wow.
always
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yes.
So he was just treated differently. So he like really didn't have curfews in the same way. He got to do whatever the fuck he wanted. He never really got in trouble for anything. Like it was one
Damn.
like he would get yelled at and like he was definitely spanked when we were younger. But you
Mm.
know, he was more of like, I'm just not, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be shady and sneaky and lie and whatever. I
Wow.
was the
Yeah.
one
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm like,
Love
this
it.
is like, you know, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I'm like the medium. I'm like, all right, I see how you did it. That doesn't look great.
Yeah.
I see how you do it. That doesn't look great. So I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want to do within my curfew and within what I'm allowed to
Yes.
do.
Yes. Okay. I mean, brilliant, right? So easy, so simple, yet so
Yeah.
hard.
But also
Yeah.
like this is who I was as a fucking child. So, you know, like we're still talking about a child here. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting
I
how we grow up in these
know.
influences.
We're all so wild way too young. Every single one of us. So maybe that's just how it
But here's
goes.
the thing, just to circle it back to what you were saying about like the next generation, my
Yes.
sister's kids are not like that. They are
Okay.
not at all like that because she spoke about sex. She was always talking to them. She was
Cool.
always upfront. She would, when they'd be, I've always lived away, so I was never really around for like family dinners and stuff like that, but her kids were, and they would grow up seeing my
Wow.
brother and seeing the depths of addiction and what it looks like, and
Wow.
how my parents would treat it and everything like that. And so she was just always having those conversations because they'd be like, "What's wrong with uncle?" And she's like, "Well, like he is struggling with a problem, and this is what's happening, and this is why I'm always telling you need to be careful with what you're doing and who
Right.
you're hanging out with and what you're putting into your body, because you don't know if this could be you. This could easily be you. You don't know how your body is going to react to alcohol or drugs
Reacts.
or anything. This is
Mm-hmm.
It's a mental illness, it's a reaction, and you need support. And like now you can see what it is. She never hid anything from them. She
That's so
never
good.
hid
So
sexuality.
good.
She
So
talked to
good.
her kids about, like, she would tell her kids if they're stressed out, like, go masturbate and you're going to feel better. Like, go
No
release.
way.
Yes. She would
I
be like,
love it.
go to your room, masturbate, release some of those hormones because you're really, really stressed right now. And that's probably going to help you. So
Wow.
like, she was very forward and upfront, which created the space for her kids to come to her with literally anything. Not
Anything.
to say that they always want to talk to their mom about sex and everything,
Right.
but
Right.
like
Yes.
they could talk
It
about
was
discharge.
safe.
They could talk about
Yes.
condoms. They could talk about
Yes.
STIs. They could talk about like, well,
Yes.
what does this mean? And what is that? Because she created the space where it was safe for them to do so. And she normalized the conversations. And I
I
think
love
more
it.
and more, that's what we're going to see.
I love it. I
That
love
was
it.
so much of me talking. I'm so sorry.
No, no, it's all so true. It makes me think of my sister-in-law is 7 years younger than Thomas, and even she is, I swear, way more. I don't know. She's got her shit together. The Gen Zs, yeah,
It's different.
they are different. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see as the power shifts to our generation and their generation. Like when we are the
Yes.
old
Oh my
birds that
God,
they're like,
Thomas and
get these
I.
people out.
Yes, we've been talking so much about this because movies are now being made by millennials. You can just
Mm-hmm.
tell the jokes, the music. And then when we go to cafes or we go to buy a car, we're talking to our peers, and it's so
Yeah.
fun because we walk in and we're like, hey, like, okay, this is what we gotta do. And instead of being like, hi, we'd like to buy a car.
Yeah,
It's just so
we're
fun.
losing that facade,
Yes.
right? Like we're in a phase
Yes.
now where people are more comfortable, hopefully, showing up as their real selves and
Mm-hmm.
proving that you can be a professional and have purple hair. You can be a
Yes.
professional and have neck tattoos. You can be a professional and say fuck. Literally, the name of this
Yes.
podcast is Birds and Bees
Yes.
Don't Fuck, and it doesn't make me anything less than a professional
Yes.
or worthy of
Yes.
money or
Yes.
success or anything. And it's also
And
really
and
cool to see how
that's
people
the
run their
sex
businesses.
workers are facing that so hard, especially in Amsterdam. They want to move there's a flyer about it. They want to move the
Oh
red light district
wow.
out of the city center and put it in this like 3-story sex thing, which would be kind of cool, but not the moving it out of the center part. It's been
No
there for hundreds and
way.
hundreds of years, but they think it's attracting the wrong kind of crowd and tourists and blah 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 blah.
Which, okay, so I can't necessarily blame them for that because when
Right, they
sex
are a
is not
city,
well,
and
okay,
yes,
first of all, you are a city. Like, we get the wrong
yes,
crowd in Hollywood. Are you kidding me? Like, what are we
right,
talking about here? Like, and I'm from New York. We get the wrong crowd there. Like,
right,
it's all in what you make of it. But to their point, when sex is so inaccessible and
mm,
so shamed everywhere
mm,
else, and that's
mm-hmm.
the only place you can go to experience sexuality in a public sphere, you're going to
Yes,
get everyone who's interested in that. And
yes,
it's not always going to
true,
be great people, but the more we
true.
normalize
Right.
sex,
That's
the less
so
it's
well
going to feel like
said
that.
because yes, putting it out of the city center is doing exactly what you just said. It is making it something to be ashamed of again.
Yeah. And the thing that's been
Yeah, that's going the
always so
wrong way.
100%. The
Yeah.
thing that's always been so beautiful about Amsterdam, I've only been there once and for a day. But just the
You
thing that's
probably
so beautiful,
experienced.
other than like the history and the architecture, I mean, it is a gorgeous
Right. The
city.
canals, all the
Oh
things,
my God,
right.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. But
Yes.
it's the fact that people can indulge in things without shame. And that's what
Yes.
people are attracted to. And it's
Yes.
not necessarily like sex and drugs. And like, yes, it's that. But I think it's more of the freedom that that
Yeah. The
allows people.
liberation. Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Yes. God. Yeah. You are just like nailing it. And Thomas is going to love listening to this too, because he's going to just say yes, yes, yes. Because it's been hard to verbalize why we just canceled our flights to Paris and are staying here. My mom is the one who keeps saying, tell me, tell me, tell me, like, why this, why that, why this? And I try to put words to it, but it's just a feeling. We're
yeah.
just here and it's where we're happy and it's where we're liberated. Yeah.
That's so exciting. It's so
Yes.
exciting. And you just got there. And I'm so excited for you. I get
I
like, I get joy, empathy. It's really weird. So you know how like a lot of
Oh,
people,
that's fun. Yeah, 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 yeah.
like
That's
some people will
cool.
be like they'll like cry with you if they hear a sad story. I'm like,
Yes.
we're not doing
Yes.
that. But when people have really good things happening, I like get flutters and it's like
I
overwhelming
get
sometimes.
flutters. I've never thought of this. You're saying so many things I've never thought of because I definitely cry when people cry. But I also get flutters when somebody I barely knew told me they got engaged and showed me the ring. I started crying.
Yeah, yeah. I get like this weird excitement thing that like sometimes it has to just come out as a squeal and whatever. It's like
Yes.
it's super weird, but I've learned to just be like, that is so beautiful that I get to feel the joy that someone else is feeling. Like what a fucking
Yes.
gift. So I'm not a
Yes.
monster.
That's
I do feel
beautiful.
things.
That's beautiful. I love that. I need to focus more on how I can feel those things because I've always focused on how I can feel the bad things.
Everybody
That's
does.
good.
That's a survival mechanism. Literally, that is a survival mechanism that we used when we were being chased around by saber-toothed tigers. And we don't
Right.
need that shit anymore.
No
So,
tigers.
no
They're not here.
tigers. Just
Just my
like the
kitty
fun.
cat. You know, she's
Mhm.
kind of tiger-esque sometimes, but
Oh man. So you've had Squirtopia for 2 years now?
yes. So we launched October 2021. So we're about to come on to our 2-year anniversary for that, which is really
Wow.
exciting.
And 3 years for
Yes.
your marriage.
Yes,
How
I
fun is
know. And so
that?
the other thing we were just thinking about, yeah, so married October 2020. We found out we were pregnant no, we launched the business October 2021, and then we found out we were pregnant October 2022.
Oh my
October.
god.
I know.
Ah, this is so cute. October is your month.
Right? I know. I could not believe it. And
Ah.
then we are here. So what will happen in October other than just being here? That's probably what it is.
And when you two came together, having sounds like maybe similar but different backgrounds in terms of sexuality and sex
Yeah.
education, what was
Yeah.
that like
So,
for
yeah.
you?
Okay, Thomas knew what squirting was, right? So I was like, what the fuck just happened after it was all done? Like huge wet puddles on the bed, right? He's like, well, it's called squirting, or however he said it. I don't really remember. And I had never heard of squirting. Another embarrassing fun fact. He had because of porn. I
Yeah.
didn't watch porn because my background. But he's just a normal dude. So of course he's knows everything that has to do about sex, and he found my clitoris no problem. And yeah, so his background, because he's a boy and watches porn and is not shamed for sex,
Hmm.
he taught me a lot. It's so weird that a boy has to teach a woman about her own body, but here we
Yeah.
are.
Well, but it's really interesting too, because what you see on porn is not real
No,
sex. That's not
no.
real pleasure for women.
Mm-mm.
And in my experience, except for one partner, I've had to teach everyone fucking everything, and it's exhausting. So,
Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, that's usually what the memes are
even though
about, and
they
then they're
think they
so
know, they think
funny.
they know.
Right.
But I'm like, have you actually studied sexuality or have you just watched porn?
Yes.
And are you just referring to what your last partner liked or what worked
Yeah.
for 3 partners? Because that's literally not how it works
Yes.
with
Right.
women, with
What
people with
works
vulvas
with
in our bodies.
one?
Yeah,
Yes.
you really have to learn and understand different techniques, all the
Hmm.
different ways to touch a vulva, different types of
Yes.
pressure, how to use your hand, how to
Yes.
use different tools. Like I always joke that dudes will spend hours and weeks and months on YouTube reading books and whatever, learning how to build a fucking deck, but they won't do the same for sexuality.
That is so funny. Thomas did not like watching YouTube before he met me, because it's the same like asking for directions things. Like they just won't do it. And
that's
so
what
finally,
it is with sex.
Yes.
They all want to think that they're good at it.
Forced it. Yes. Yes. He wants to think that he can do everything, so he doesn't need to watch a video to learn how to do it. Anyway, he's gotten over that. And this morning he was watching YouTube on how to perfect his latte art. And you know, I'm impressed he's gotten over that. And now he can succeed in other areas because YouTube is very helpful.
Yeah. And my whole point is that I've seen men like do so many deep dives, and like I do know the majority of men that I know personally, obviously this is all anecdotal, not everyone is the same, and there are so many men out there who are doing the work, who actually work in sexuality and all of those things, and like praise the Lord for them, not the Lord of Lord, but like, you know, whatever that means to you. Because I think that it does need to come from other men, and they need to be having those conversations. But I think that there is just this idea, again, like coming back to those cultural stereotypes and assumptions, that a guy has to be incredible at sex, and he has to know the way, and he has to know these things.
Has to have maybe been with a lot of partners, like the other men, the locker room talk, men to men. Yeah. The men to men talk is what needs to change drastically.
Yeah. As opposed to being open to the reality that you don't know how to make a woman come, and that's okay. And it's not her job to teach you. It's not her job unless it's her job. Hi, like you could pay me to teach you, but I'm like not when we're in bed together. That's then it's exhausting for me and other people who do that labor.
No.
But you know, that's where sex workers are excellent. Right. Like work with a sex worker. You want to know, you want to learn, work with a sex educator, work with a sex worker, work with
that's
YouTube
such a smart
videos.
way to that's such a smart way to learn, is with a sex worker.
Yeah, of course. Literally, it's their profession.
Yes.
And you want to know how to do certain things. You want to perfect a technique. You want to learn about a body. You want to explore in a safe and supportive environment where you are actually paying for the service of learning. Pay people for their labor.
Yes. And you know what I'm thinking about now? This chair is so loud. I'm thinking about how Cosmo magazine or oh my god, Tiger Beat, obviously.
Oh no, those were the worst.
They're posters of hot guys that I had in high school. The quizzes, the how to give a guy a great blowjob, and how to dress to attract a man. Mm-hmm. So they were definitely not putting how to find your woman's clitoris in men's reading, but we were being told how to do everything for a man.
Yeah.
Make their sandwich.
Because we have to be a sex goddess, but also we can't be having sex with anyone, but also we have to wait until marriage. But also once you get married, you have to fuck your husband anytime he wants it. And also you better be good at it, but you can't get the practice in, and everything is about their pleasure.
Contradictory as fuck.
Yes. And you know, Madonna whore complex. You can't be both. You can't be great at sex and in touch with your sexuality and sensuality and be a mother and be a wife and be a daughter.
The mother thing is so gnarly. Yes.
So it is a lot of our entire history of sex education and sexuality has been about the putting the man first and his pleasure first. Why do you think we all call it a vagina and not a vulva?
I know, it's so sad.
Yeah. And nobody thinks about that. But the reason why it's called a vagina and not a vulva is because the vagina is the only thing that had a purpose for men. Where the penis goes, where the baby comes out of.
Wow, that's so true. Mm-hmm. So the men are writing the books. The men are were at least.
Yeah.
So they're writing the books. We're going to write about what they cared about. And they're only going to research what they care about. Yes. And that's why there's no, people still argue about squirting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how long were women shamed for that? Even still, women are shamed for that.
Yes.
Like, oh, what are you peeing? Like, fuck you. No. Also, there might be a little bit in there, but you know.
And also like people like golden showers.
Exactly.
So,
that is a thing. Like we're talking fluids here. There's just stuff.
Yes. And like it's sex. What do you expect?
Yeah. And your pre-com can have a little bit there too, because pre-com is
Yes.
literally clearing the pipes of whatever is in there. So,
Yes.
we need
Mm,
to work on destigmatizing,
mhm,
deprogramming, and
mhm.
normalizing all of the liquids, all of the
Yes.
sounds, all of the
Yes.
weird things, and all
Yes.
of the fact that you don't know. You don't know
Mhm.
about sex,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah,
okay.
just take personal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't actually know what you're talking about. Could you show
Yeah.
me how to massage your vulva? Like,
Yeah.
yes.
How do you like to be touched? How do you touch
Yes.
yourself?
Yes. Let me try this. Do you want to try this toy? Why,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Do you like this direction? Do you like this
Right.
pressure? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
when we can lead with curiosity and an open mind and an openness. And by the way, this is for people playing with penises as well. They like
Mhm.
different things
Mhm.
too.
Mhm. Mhm.
There are plenty of men who complain to me about the women that they're with
Yes.
too. Like
Yes, and the men
they
need to speak up. There's
yes.
like you speak up when it feels good, speak up when it doesn't, because they're just pretty much quiet.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
in
okay
my
for you to
experience.
moan. Say fuck yeah, say oh
Yes,
god, say whatever you
right.
want. Like
Yeah,
let
why
those
are they not
sounds
allowed
come
to
out.
express themselves? Yeah, there's
Mhm.
problems on both sides, so we
Of
won't
course.
blame all the men because, yeah,
No,
they're
no, no, no.
also feeling trapped, I guess, and not
Yeah.
able to like let out their sounds and their like, yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
look at butt play, right? Like that is something that can be very, very
Yes.
pleasurable for people with
Yes.
penises, but because of
Stigma.
the homophobia for
Hmm.
decades and decades and decades,
Right. Right.
it's like if you like it in a butt, suddenly you like
You're
men. Like
gay.
that's literally not how
It's
sexuality and desire
literally just a
works.
pleasure point.
It's just a
Has
pleasure
nothing
point.
to do with your orientation or
Exactly.
your sexuality or
Or who you're
anything.
attracted to or what you're attracted to or
It just
anything.
feels good.
It just means that it feels good. Yeah. So
Pooping feels
there's
good too. Isn't that a thing?
exactly, exactly. That's a thing too. That's for sure a kink. Like,
And I'm
you know,
sure peeing feels good. I mean, it does when you really need to pee. So, anyway,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you've been holding it in and then you finally get to pee and you get that
It's a
sigh,
relief.
there's a
Yeah.
reason why you sigh in that. And a
Yes.
lot of this
Yes.
is connected to your pelvic girdle, your pelvic
Mm,
floor. And the
yes.
voice, if you're holding in your voice, you're holding
Mm,
in your muscles, you're holding in your throat, you're holding here, you're holding here. Guess what else
mm,
you're holding? Your
yeah.
pelvic floor. And guess what needs to
Wow.
be released to orgasm? Your
Your
pelvic floor.
pelvic floor.
Mm. It's a lot of damage we're doing to ourselves. We could be having so much more fun, everyone.
Oh, you've been doing so much more.
Oh man. So what was the
Wow.
response that you were getting when you first started like from your families? Because maybe not well,
Okay.
Thomas's family, we know Southern and yours is Catholic. So like what was
Yes.
that experience like when you're showing up in the world now?
Oh my God, it was so nerve wracking. We had to tell my dad, of all people,
Oh god.
first,
Oh god.
because he is the businessman. He is the person I've told every business idea to. He has the advice, all the things. It had to be Stan. And we didn't know when to do it. So we're all sitting down having sushi, me, Thomas, and Stan, which we do all the time. And somehow he starts talking about this other entrepreneur that's a family friend. And he starts talking about how he's working on a new tampon that has healing, stuff in it. And I thought to myself, this is a great segue. If this is my
Yes.
opportunity and if I don't take it, I'm never telling my dad and I'm never going to start this business. So I took the segue. He had no fucking clue what I was talking about when it came to squirting. Like, I tried to explain it within like two PG-13 sentences and it was still going over his head. But yet he was just like, okay, great, yes.
Oh,
Okay.
dad.
I know.
Yes.
Adorable. Adorable. And they all had, my mom thought it was hilarious. She thought it was so funny and loved it. And now she and her boyfriend have like three of them because
Yes.
some at his house, some at her house, some at the house up in Ashland, Oregon. So she's
Yeah.
loving it. And then, yeah, Thomas's parents thought it was really funny. And then Thomas's dad's business partner bought one.
Yay!
So once we got out of the closet of
Mhm.
shame, our friends and family laugh. They think it's funny. They tell their friends. I mean, hey, it's all good.
It's interesting that they find it funny. Like
Yeah, of course, right?
humor.
Yes.
This is why I love sex and comedy. This is why I
Yes.
really wanted to position this podcast as something that could be comedic, that we could really be like having these fun, funny conversations while talking about really serious stuff, because we use
Yeah.
humor to
Coping
work
mechanism.
through like our coping and when we're
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And so like it's hilarious to them because it's uncomfortable and they don't know how else to approach it, most likely, even though they're like, that's fucking brilliant and I need this shit, but I better say it's funny so it's more comfortable.
Yes. 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 Pretty much 10 out of 10 people react with laughter.
Yeah. I think it's probably because the name is funny. I love the name.
Yes.
Squirtopia.
Yes.
Like, it's fucking
Yes.
brilliant. How'd you come up with that
Yeah.
name?
Thomas. I think Squirt Pad was me and Squirtopia was Thomas.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And listen, it's not even just for squirting. Like, sex
Of course.
is just messy.
Messy
Like,
sex.
and
Anal
you don't
sex,
have to have a vulva.
Period sex. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God. For period sex. Yeah. I've thought about when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, this is such a brilliant product, because even if you're just like masturbating and you're using lube, like it gets under your butt and like it gets down there. Like there's so many reasons why you would want a nice, comfy. I need to buy one actually.
I'll give you one, any color you'd like. We're coming out with a red one to match your lips.
Yeah, I have red in my bedroom actually.
Oh shit! Okay, then we'll get you the red one.
Okay, yeah, and I'll do some marketing for it too.
Oh, fun! End of November, I think we'll launch it, which is kind of when I think you said this podcast was going out.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, we hope to do a donation campaign with the Red Light District, and find an awesome one of the charities organizations that's helping, and give $5 of every square pad sold to them, and try to get the petition on our website, get everybody signing the petition.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I'll put you, if you provide me with the information, I'll put that in the show notes as well, so that people can sign the petition. They can get involved if they want to. I mean, this is like, sex work is so important for so many reasons. Like, it's not just like, oh yeah, we're having a good time. I know a lot of sex workers. A lot of it is just that people want someone to listen to them, to touch,
to listen,
to just connect with. It's to exist, to not to let their guard down with, who isn't going to judge them, because and it could just be like, I mean, I have friends that were dancers that like their regular consistent clients, like they never even took their clothes off with them. It was just that they would like have company, and they would have this beautiful woman to sit on their lap and talk to them and hear them and be interested in their day, or someone who's
sex workers are literally the sweetest people, so I can totally see how I would want to lay my head on the bosom of a lovely woman and tell her about my issues,
right? Yeah. And then you have people with disabilities as well, who oftentimes sex is just not accessible to them. Maybe they can't even leave their fucking house, and the only non-medical touch that they can get is from a sex worker. We need to think about that way more, and we need to talk about that way fucking more.
Yes, that's so true. That's so true. Or super shy, or Thomas's friend was just fresh out of break up and flew to Amsterdam and had knocked on some red doors. So it's just,
for
whatever
any
you
reason.
need,
At the end of the day, it's connection.
Yes.
Maybe it's sexual connection, maybe it's emotional connection, maybe it's intimate touch connection. But at the end of the day, they are providing a service that is so fucking important to humanity that if we can just get rid of the shame aspect of it.
Right.
Then,
I know. I know. I want to get rid of the shame so badly.
Yeah. In all things. Well, I think you're doing a great job doing it, because you're opening the conversation up with your product. It's undeniable that when a product exists, because it's not a sex toy. So, sex toys are like, it's way harder to open that conversation. But what you provide is something safe to open up the conversation with. It's a useful tool that's safe to talk about.
Right.
Because it doesn't go into
kinks. It goes on your bed. It looks like a blanket. And even if you just sweat during sex, it'll help.
Exactly. So no one needs to know anything about what you're into. No one needs to know about your private life. It's a very equitable product.
Yeah, somebody DM'd me yesterday and said, what do I tell my kids it is? Because they just asked, and I quickly said camping blanket. I was like, camping blanket's
Wow.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. You could use
Right? I'm
it.
like, it's a waterproof blanket, so you can use it at the park with
That's
wet grass.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do something called
Yes.
synespia here, like movies in the cemetery, in the
Okay.
Hollywood Cemetery.
Yes.
Like, yes,
Cool.
I'm totally going to bring my
Yes.
squirt pad next year. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
It's so
No,
good.
we went to the south of France while we were killing time to move in here. And I had the lavender squirt pad because we had
Oh,
just launched
yeah.
that
That
one.
was
And I took
beautiful.
it to the beach where all the rocks are. There's not actual sand at some of them. And it was so nice to sit on. It's huge, waterproof, comfy, protected us and the baby from the rocks. We let the
Yeah.
baby have diaper free time on it. It sits
Aw.
out on the grass because
Oh
it's
my
always
God. And
wet in
that's a great
Amsterdam.
use too.
Yes.
Diaper
There's
free time for a
multiple.
baby.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God. It's
Yes.
so
I
good.
know.
It's just
I
so
know.
good.
We
Even for
wanted to
dogs, like if you
focus.
have pets, like I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm just going to throw out
Yes.
every possible purpose for your
I know.
products.
There's a lot of
Everyone needs to
reasons you
buy
can have
one.
one. Yes. Yes. And everyone's like, why don't you talk about all those other things? And we do, but we wanted to focus on sex because that
Yes,
was the reason that we created it.
exactly.
And all these fun side benefits are
Hmm.
just a bang for your buck. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
honestly, if you were to start focusing on all those other things,
it
then
would
like
be
that's
just
then what are we
confusing.
doing? Now it's just like a
Right.
regular ass picnic blanket, which is the intention of this
Yeah.
thing
So,
is to
yes.
support you having
Yes.
great sex where you're making it messy and you're having a good time
Yep.
and no one has to give a fuck about the blankets because by the
Yes.
way,
Yes.
that brings your
Yes.
head out of it and your head has to
Yes. Oh,
be
so we haven't
present. Oh my
even
God, we didn't even
touched the
get, I
surface
know,
on
we're like
that.
at the end. It's pop
I
quiz time,
know.
but
So
tell me
basically,
quickly.
they'll have to buy one and they can figure out how it helps them mentally because, yeah, the freedom. Hmm. Yes. We get it
Yeah.
on every review. Basically, that is right.
Yeah, that
Yes.
release. Everything comes
Yeah.
back to release. How can you
Yes.
create a sexual situation and environment where you can release? Because that's
Yep.
what we need to do. Like all an
Yep.
orgasm
Yep.
is, it's a buildup of your muscles and blood and all that stuff. And then it's the release of that. And,
Yep.
uncontrollable what is it, palpitations or whatever, like
Right. Right. Right.
uncontrolled,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But you can't get
Yes.
there
Those are
if you're
wild.
clenching onto it. Like literally
Yeah.
scientifically speaking, all an orgasm is patterned squeezing of the pelvic floor, basically.
Wild.
That's yeah, it's great. Lioness vibrators, they do a lot of research on
Yeah.
this. They're amazing.
Yes.
They're amazing.
Yes.
But it's time for a pop quiz.
Okay.
What is the foreskin homogeneous to on a vulva?
Wow.
What
Do you see
is
how
the
slow I'm
foreskin homogeneous
thinking?
to on a vulva?
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know.
The clitoral hood.
Okay, the hood. Okay, the
Yeah,
hood.
yeah,
Okay, yes.
yeah. Because
Makes sense.
they're both covering the outer
Yes.
edge and the very tip of the shaft there.
Wow.
Hmm. And by the way, a lot of people don't even know that our bodies are homogenous anyway, that they both start with the
Right.
same pieces and develop in different
Yes.
ways.
Yes,
So,
and
yeah,
the men have, and we have a prostate. That's where the Skene's gland and the fluid for the squirting. Yeah, no
yeah,
one talks
a
about
different
that.
version of it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. Well, this
Fun.
was so much fun. Thank you so much for
Yes.
coming on the show.
It was
Where can
really
people
fun.
Yeah, we went all over the place.
We
We started
really did.
we started with witches and we ended with where your head goes when you fuck. So, I guess that's pretty full circle because we're still
It
talking about
is.
head stuff. So,
Yes.
getting heady.
Yes. I love it.
Oh man, so where can people find you?
Okay, yes. So squirtopia.com is where you can find our squirt pads for sale. And at Squirtopia is where we are on Instagram. And at Sex Positive Barbie is me on
Oh my
Instagram.
God, I didn't know that was you. I got to go follow you. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I know
I
you had
just
the
did
pink.
that from the Barbie movie. I was like, I am Sex Positive Barbie.
I love it. Well, didn't you have a Barbie, like the Barbie colored
Yes,
one
we have the
too?
Barbie
Like,
Dream Pad. Yeah.
yeah. How many
Yes.
colors do you have right now?
Well, right now we have our four mainstays, and then the Barbie Dream Pad and the lavender are limited edition, and then the red one, which we've yet to name, will be a mainstay because people want it for the period sex. Free bleeding.
Oh yeah. Even just free. Oh my God.
Yes.
The uses are
Yes.
endless with this thing. It's like it's so good for so many reasons. Like
It
every
really
household
is.
needs 5. What are
Yes.
what are the
Yes.
mainstay colors? I know that you have the purpley purple and the black one, which the
Yeah,
black
so
one
the
I
purple
love
ones
too.
are OG. Yep. And then we got teal, magenta, and black all last year.
That's right.
Yeah. Black is
Yeah.
bestseller, I would say.
Yeah, I was
Lavender
gonna
is
ask
my
you that.
favorite. It's the prettiest.
Yeah, the lavender is really, really lovely, and it was beautiful in the park.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. If you like this episode or you think someone could use a squirt pad, send it on over to them. Leave me a 5-star review, leave comments, do all those things. Help people find this podcast because we are just a new little baby podcast and we are not a celebrity. So please do help us.
Help.
But thank you for listening. I'm just trying to think. I am trying to do a live show in January, and this is going to air before that. So my ass needs to start calling some venues. So aiming for January 3rd. So stay tuned. As we get closer and things get firmed up, I'll definitely put a little something in the beginning of the episode. So we'll see where that is. But thank you so much for coming on, and